On October 20, 2025, the White House East Wing began to vanish behind clouds of dust and the roar of heavy machinery. Bulldozers tore into the century-old structure, marking the start of the most dramatic White House renovation in decades. President Donald Trump's vision, a colossal new ballroom, nearly 90,000 square feet, almost double the size of the residence itself. The $250 million project is both a physical and symbolic transformation, reflecting Trump's real estate roots and taste for grandeur. For years, Trump argued that the East Room was too small for the scale of modern state events. Now, with demolition underway, his long-standing ambition is becoming reality, igniting fierce national debate. The new ballroom is meant to host hundreds for state dinners and global summits, a space Trump claims is overdue. The East Wing's destruction is irreversible, a bold first step that has preservationists and the public watching closely. Trump's push for a new ballroom dates back to his first term, with previous offers to fund it rejected by past administrations. Now, back in office, he's moving fast. Construction crews working under an aggressive timeline. The project is more than an addition. It's a fundamental alteration to a site steeped in history, raising questions about preservation and presidential power. Every aspect, from funding to design, is under intense scrutiny. As the dust settles, the nation waits to see what legacy will rise in its place. President Trump insists the new ballroom is a necessity, not a luxury. He's long claimed the White House lacks a venue worthy of hosting world leaders and grand state events. The East Room, he argues, is outdated and too small for a modern superpower. Trump frames the project as fulfilling a wish of past presidents, finally giving the White House a space fit for global diplomacy. He promises a masterpiece, the finest ballroom in the country, blending luxury with presidential prestige. For Trump, it's about more than function. It's about leaving a lasting mark on the nation's capital. The project reflects his real estate philosophy: build big, build bold, and make it unforgettable. He claims the new ballroom will respect the White House's historic architecture, standing apart but in harmony. Critics call it vanity, but Trump insists it's a patriotic gift to future presidents and the nation. By pushing forward, he's asserting his authority as a builder-president, determined to set his legacy in stone. The ballroom's $250 million price tag is staggering, but Trump is adamant, not a dime will come from taxpayers. Instead, he's turned to private donors, wealthy individuals and major corporations, framing the project as a patriotic partnership. Trump touts the donors as great American companies and patriots eager to support his vision. This funding model is unprecedented for a White House edition, raising questions about influence and access. The full donor list remains secret, fueling speculation about what contributors might expect in return. Trump himself claims to be among the donors, blurring the line between his public and private roles. Critics warn that private financing of a presidential project sets a troubling precedent. While gifts to the White House aren't new, never before has a major new wing been built entirely with private money. The lack of transparency has become a flashpoint, with opponents demanding full disclosure. The ballroom's funding is as controversial as its design, symbolizing the growing power of private wealth in public spaces. America's corporate titans are at the heart of the ballroom's funding. Trump has named Apple, Amazon, Lockheed Martin, and Coinbase as major contributors, with some donations reaching $25 million. Their involvement turns the project into a symbol of the close ties between the Trump administration and big business. For these companies, supporting the project may be a strategic move, aligning with the president, seeking goodwill, or securing influence. But the risks are real: public backlash, boycotts, and accusations of partisanship. The billionaire ballroom is now a monument not just to Trump, but to the immense influence of corporate America. Critics argue that when corporations help shape the nation's most iconic residents, the line between public good and private interest blurs. The project highlights how corporate power can now directly impact the symbols of American government. The ballroom's legacy will be tied as much to its donors as to the president who built it. The transformation began months before demolition, with site prep and planning moving at breakneck speed. Trump announced groundbreaking in July 2025, determined to make the ballroom a reality before his term ends. By September, major construction was underway. By October, the East Wing was being torn down. The demolition was a jarring sight, historic walls falling to make way for Trump's vision. Clark Construction and McCreary Architects are leading the project, which includes modernizing the East Wing alongside building the new ballroom. The new structure will offer sweeping views of the Washington Monument, designed for maximum impact. The rapid pace is strategic. Once started, the project is hard to stop, making its completion almost inevitable. Critics see this as a classic Trump tactic: create facts on the ground, then dare opponents to reverse them. The aggressive timeline ensures the ballroom will remain a central controversy throughout Trump's presidency. The project's most contentious aspect: it's moving forward without formal approval from the National Park Service. Traditionally, any White House renovation undergoes rigorous review to protect its historical integrity. The Trump administration has bypassed this process, citing urgency and presidential authority. Preservationists and professional organizations are alarmed, calling the move an abuse of power and a threat to national heritage. Critics argue that private funding doesn't exempt the project from oversight. The Society of Architectural Historians and the AIA have condemned the lack of transparency and called for a halt. The precedent is dangerous. If a president can unilaterally alter the White House, what's next? The ballroom's construction, shrouded in secrecy, has become a battleground over the rule of law and the stewardship of American history. Trump promises a ballroom of grandeur and modern function, but insists it will totally respect the White House's historic look. The new building will be separate, connected through the East Wing, but standing apart from the main residence. McCreary Architects, known for classical design, are tasked with blending old and new. At 90,000 square feet, the ballroom dwarfs the 55,000 square foot residence, designed to host up to 999 guests. Some reports suggest a more modest capacity, but the scale is unprecedented. The ballroom's orientation offers dramatic views of the Washington Monument, linking it visually to the Capitol's iconic landmarks. This is the first major exterior change to the White House since 1942, when the East Wing was expanded for security reasons. Now, the motivation is social prestige, not national crisis. The challenge: create a space that's both grand and respectful, without overwhelming the historic mansion. The architectural community is watching closely, ready to judge whether the design honors or diminishes the White House. The stakes are high. This addition will define the White House for generations. The ballroom has sparked fierce criticism from across the political spectrum and among preservationists. Democrats call it a billionaire ballroom, a symbol of excess and corporate influence. Some Republicans, too, see it as a desecration of the White House's legacy. Professional groups like the Society of Architectural Historians and the AIA condemn the lack of oversight and transparency. Critics argue the project is more about Trump's personal legacy than public good. The controversy has united unlikely allies, all demanding that the White House remain above personal ambition. Trump's previous changes, gold accents, a redesigned rose garden, fuel the perception that this is about self-promotion. The ballroom is now a flashpoint in the battle over history, power, and the meaning of the presidency. The new ballroom is the most significant White House alteration in over 80 years, breaking a long tradition of architectural restraint. Past changes, like the 1902 and 1942 East Wing expansions, were driven by necessity or national crisis. Trump's project is different. It's about prestige, not security or structural need. His previous changes to the Oval Office and Rose Garden were controversial, but this is on another scale. The ballroom will permanently alter the White House's footprint, becoming a central part of Trump's legacy. Supporters see it as a bold, necessary upgrade, critics as a monument to excess and ego. Regardless of opinion, the structure will stand as a testament to a turbulent era. Future generations will debate its meaning, but its presence will be undeniable. The White House will never look the same, and neither will the presidency. The ballroom story is just beginning, its legacy to be written by those who walk its halls.